Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, May 9th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, joined by my co-host here, Monday and Tuesdays, Big Marcel. What's going on, my friend? How are you?
Yeah, all good. How are you?
I mean, I'm not doing too bad, Marcel. Looking forward to talking about UFC 274 with you. UFC, they used to have like the name beside the event, like they call it like the uprising or like knockout or
Yeah.
validation. They should have called it UFC 274 the shit show because that's what this event was. It was a total shit show, Marcel. On paper, I mean, it looked like one of the better cards of the year, right? I don't think it played out that way. We got to be honest on this podcast. We always are. There was a few good fights, but overall, Marcel, of the pay per views, I'm pretty sure it was the worst one of the year so far, right?
I mean, there were two really bad fights on it. I think one fight was quality. I think was a quality fight. It was actually on the prelims supposed to be, and the other two fights were spectacular. So yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those events. I just don't think it really lived up to the hype, but that happens sometimes, and you really never know how these fights are going to play out until the fighter step into the cage, and we'll see what happens. And we'll see what happens. Lots to talk about this card, man. A lot. Got some guys in the chat: Tristan, John, Glenn, Joe. What's going on, guys? All of our regulars here. Glad to have you guys here as always. There's a lot to talk about in this card, so I think we'll start off at the top as always. Marcel, work our way down the card. Might as well start with picks. I mean, it was a pretty good night. I got 9 right. There was a couple underdogs that I had a feeling might win and just couldn't pull the trigger. Kind of wish I did now in hindsight, but it is what it is. But I know that I want to give you credit, Marcel. Even though the fight was shit, you did call Esparza winning, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. And I think we both picked Randy Brown as at the time he was the underdog, so that was a really good pick, I think, by us. But yeah, I mean, overall, not a bad night. Like for me, just a few fights I didn't have good real, but overall, like I was just thinking about how we like the way we broke down the fights. I think we both had decent reads on these fights, so it played out for the most part, kind of like I thought it would. We got local in the chat as well. What's going on? Let's get through these fights. So let's start with the main event. We got to start with Friday at the weigh-ins. So
It's Friday.
I know that was the worst song of all time, by the way, but. So I was watching the weigh-ins, and it's getting to almost 2:00, and Oliveira is nowhere to be found. And I'm just like, I'm getting concerned at that point. Like, where is this guy? He finally comes on. Obviously, steps on the scale, 0.5 over. Gets an hour to cut the weight. Comes back 0.5 over again. Loses his belt in the scale. First time UFC history of fighters lost the belt in the scale. Now, at that point, we just thought, this is just a typical weight miss in a title fight, which has never happened before. But just a guy missing weight. Of course, now we know, Marcel, there was a little bit more to the story. The scale in the back was off by 0.5, apparently. And Oliveira was convinced that he had made the weight, but he didn't. There's just a lot to talk about. Obviously, here's the thing. I do think there is something to this because otherwise Dana White would have been way more pissed. And he was very understanding at the press conference. He's like, there's a problem with the scale. He thinks someone might have touched the scale in the back. And he says they want to have security guards next to it from now on, which I'm surprised they hadn't done that already, Marcel.
Yeah.
Right? And you could just go, like me and you could just, like, if we're there, go and fuck with the scale and screw someone over. So, listen, I do think there's something to that. At the end of the day, though, only him and Norman Dumont miss weight in the whole card, So,
Adam,
it's a tough one, man. Go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
But there were many 0.5s,
Yeah, it was.
on that card. So, it's difficult, The thing is, like, I think if this happens, you have a scale back in the backstage where they weigh in. You have a scale on the podium, obviously, Maybe have a third scale somewhere. So if you weigh in the back and you're on weight, and you go on the podium and you're not on weight, you can say, "Hey, fuck it, give me the third scale somewhere and let me weigh in on that one," and that will also well calibrated, of course, and let me weigh in on that one. And if that one says you're on weight, you're on weight, then there's maybe something off with the scale on the podium because they didn't check that scale on the podium at all, and listen. First were only Ariana Carnelosi and Norma Dumont who said something about it,
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, maybe they're backing the Brazilian. But then Matt Snell also came out and said, like, I was heavier on the podium than I was on backstage. So there is something to it, So, yeah, and the thing is, it's kind of sucks, dude, to get your belt taken away by 0.5. It's like
It sucks.
It's like, what's 0.5? What is that? Is it this? What I have here in my hand? My earplugs? What is 0.5? It's not even. That's even
It's a little more
heavier.
than that, I think. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Let me ask you a question though. Like, he came back at the same weight, and he was asked at the press conference, "Why didn't you shave your hair?" And he didn't really answer the question. He just said, "We were confident we were on weight." I'm just saying, you should have broken all the stops at that point to get as close as you could. Like, what did he even? I guess his body stopped sweating. I think that's what happened.
For sure. Because I think we messaged each other personal message, and you were scared, and I was actually. He will get that off.
I was really scared I was scared.
But when I thought about it, I was like, dude, if he stopped sweating, he might probably be fucked. Because it's very difficult to get it off then.
Yep.
So, but the thing is, if he was convinced that his weight was good in the back. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying in the back, his weight is good, and he goes up the podium and it's still 0.5 over. Why would you shave your hair then? You know what I mean? If you are good at the back. But we don't know that exact thing, what happened at the back from the back to the podium. So to the stage, I should say. Why should I say podium? To the stage. So we don't exactly know. So if he was on weight in the back, he probably was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna shave my hair off. You know? So yeah.
I get it. I'm just saying, like, it's tough. Anyway, it's a shitty situation, man. It sucks because not only did he miss weight, now he lost the belt. He lost 30% of his purse as well, Marcel. And I think it does. You look at his record now. He won't have that extra title defense, and now he's got to start a new reign as a champion.
Yeah,
right. Like interrupt the streak. It's very disappointing, man. I feel for the guy. It sucks, but there's rules in the sport. Unfortunately, you have to make 155 in the dot for a championship fight. It sucks. That's the case. I never really liked how the non-title fights got an extra pound. I don't know what your thoughts
it's weird.
It's weird. I never really liked that.
I when I started watching the sport, I didn't know this, So when I saw it, I was like, why they can be over, And then I see like you get an extra pound, you get an extra pound when it's not a title fight. I was like, it's kind of weird. You know what I mean? It's just kind of weird. Then why you have to make, I know it's the rules, guys, so don't say like it's the rules, I know, but why you have to make 155 on the dot on the title fight, and you can be 155.5 or 156 if it's a non-title fight, because it's the same weight class, you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird that those kind of things are different, So yeah.
I agree. Anyways, at the end of the day, it sucks. But here's the thing. So I'm going to ask you a question here. When he missed weight, did you consider switching your pick? Or you picked Gaethje anyway.
I picked Gaethje.
My apologies. Sorry, my apologies. You did pick Gaethje. So for me, it was tough because last week Rob Font missed weight, and I didn't switch my pick. And I thought about it, and I didn't, and he lost the fight. And I really thought about it, but at the same time, I was like, you know what? It's only half a pound. Font was worse because he stopped swinging at 2.5 pounds. You know, Marcel, that was more of an issue, I think. With this, it was like only half a pound. He didn't look like he was sick or anything on the scale. It just looked like it was a miscalculation. At the same time, though, fighters that miss weight this year haven't done very well. Historically, it's like 50-50, I want to say. It's not really historically. I think if you look at all the weight misses you have the history, it's not really like an advantage or disadvantage overall, But I think every situation is different. And if a guy looks like he's really struggling like Rob Font, maybe you could switch it then. But in this case, I didn't switch it. I'm glad I stuck to my guns with the submission. But what were you going to say, though? Go ahead.
I'm not going to lie. I think he didn't look good on the scale, dude. He looked really, his jaws looked like Tony Ferguson.
Yeah. I don't know how this guy used to make 145. How the hell did he make 145?
Yeah, crazy to me, And that's why he probably didn't make 145 many times when he was pretty much.
By the way, this is his fifth time missing weight. Fifth time in the UFC, Marcel. First in lightweight, but fifth time. That's a lot of weight misses, right?
Actually, I think it was actually a sixth time because one fight got pulled. So he got pulled because he didn't weigh in. So yeah, he has a history record for not weighing in on the dot, but there wasn't been a problem so far at lightweight.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
I mean, and 0.5, dude, 0.5 is such a shitty way to lose your title. You know what I mean? If it was 2 pounds, 3 pounds, nobody would have complained. Everybody would have been like, yeah, your own fault, but 0.5. And also, like, I was talking to one of my friends, and my friends was like, what do you think about it? I was like, dude, for me, listen, it's probably not fair, but if I was a commissioner and I see 0.5, I would say 155. You know what I mean? I know you can't do that.
Did you watch the weigh? You see the guy, he's like, the old school scale? It's like, I'm like, there's got to be a better way. It's 2022. There's got to be a more like definite way to weigh these guys in, right?
Adam. Yeah, Adam. Let's be honest. You are the commissioner, right? And you see a guy weighing in at 155.5. You know he goes back to the back. 1 hour to make weight. He comes back. You know he tried hard, probably. You know, and he goes back and says, "You see 155." Dude, say 155. You know what I mean? What's 0.5?
Okay.
I know there's our commissioners and they can't do it, but it's like I said to my friend, it's like probably these guys are the guys who got picked on in school early, you know, and so now they're now they are extra strict. You know what I mean?
I want to bring up another situation. I was in Montreal when GSP fought Nick Diaz, and the rumor was he was like 155.2, but they rounded it down to 155. I believe that. I'm looking right now actually at the weigh-in pictures. That was a digital scale. That wasn't the traditional scale, which brings me to the next point. Do you think they should go to the digital scales, or are you okay with the old school 1950s or whatever, 1850s?
If the digital scale is rightly calibrated, for sure, man. And then we don't see a guy like tick, 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 tick the whole damn time. It looks so stupid, you know? And I think, do you remember, for example, the Khabib versus Gaethje fight in Abu Dhabi? And I'm a huge Khabib fan, but that was fishy as hell, you know? Remember that he unlocked the weight and you saw it going above, and it's like 155.
That's really fast. I know, like when it was, Anyways, it really sucks that he missed weight, but let's talk about the fight quickly because we haven't even talked about the fight itself.
Yeah, crazy, right?
It was a great fight. You know, obviously he would have won the $50,000 performance bonus too, Marcel. He kind of screwed himself out of that bonus. He lost a lot of money for this weight miss, like potentially hundreds of thousands. Dana did say he's still getting his pay-per-view points for this fight, but he said for the next fight they're not sure now because he's not a champ anymore. So it's really weird. And even in this fight, he wasn't technically a champ, but they did call him the champion, and then said that he was losing the belt once the fight started, right? Which is weird too, right?
It's just a UFC promotion, you know what I mean? So they don't have to change everything in their promos and everything. So they can just call him champ until he steps in the octagon and then he's champ.
Exactly, that's what happened. So let's talk about the fight. Early on was not looking good for him. Marcel gets dropped one time, technically once, but I think it was twice, you know, from what I saw. Maybe one of them he was pulling guard, I guess, kind of screwing with Gaethje, but obviously got dropped, knocked down early. Wasn't looking good, but then Marcel, once again, the striking improvements, knocks down Gaethje. You know, guys, Gaethje's only been knocked down 2 times in the UFC by Eddie Alvarez with a knee in that brutal knockout. That was insane. It wasn't one of my favorite fights of all time, by the way. That fight was sick. And this one, that's it, Marcel. Like, even Poirier, when he knocked him out, he didn't actually knock him down. He just barraged him against the fence. It's extremely difficult to knock down Justin Gaethje. The fact Oliveira did it is really impressive to me. And then, obviously, Marcel gets his neck and submits him. And I said last week, he doesn't need an actual takedown to win this fight. He just needs to get his back somehow in a scramble or something, or knock him down and get him that way. The way he got him, it actually had that triangle armbar, that reverse triangle for a second there too. Like, it was insane. You knew that a submission was coming, and then obviously gets the rear naked choke. I'm just blown away by the guy. Like, again, you know, 0.5 champion, not champion, whatever. But as far as the actual performance goes, incredible. Again, right? Like, and again, Marcel, like, it's just like, if you look at his resume now, it's just really getting good. And the last 4 or 5 wins, Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler, you know, Ferguson, Kevin Lee, those are really good wins. But the last 3 fights in particular showed so much heart, getting rocked, getting dropped, and then coming back and winning against elite guys, Marcel, Chandler, Poirier, Gaethje. I'm just very blown away by Charles Oliveira, man. I really am, because I've been watching him fight for 12 years in the UFC. And I remember, like, a lot of these early fights, Marcel, where he, again, gave up and quit. I was in Toronto when he fought Cub Swanson.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah, how about in Saskatoon where he fought Holloway? He's like, oh, my neck hurt, like my throat hurts. And then they said after, like, there was nothing. They said there was no injury. So it was just weird. And you could see, like, why people were fading the guy forever. But again, Marcel, 12-1 now at lightweight. I mean, he's just incredible. 11-fight win streak. And this fight technically was a lightweight fight, even though it wasn't a lightweight title fight. It was a lightweight fight because it was under 156. So I'm blown away by the guy. Just give me your thoughts on him overall as a champion. He's going to be the Hall of Fame one day for sure too. So give me your thoughts on this guy.
Yeah, I think it was amazing what he showed. You know, he came back again. You know, he did it against Poirier. He did it against Chandler, and he did it again. You know, and against Gaethje, like I said, if Gaethje hits him, he might go out. He didn't go out, and then he knocks down Gaethje and he finishes the fight. I mean, it's huge. You know, it's huge what he did. And the thing is, he's not just winning these fights; he's finishing everybody. You know, and that's even more been even more impressive. And that's why it sucks even more that he's not the champion now anymore, because he has to pretty much start again for not the win streak, but the championship streak. He has to start again.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, amazing performance. I think he, again, a good comeback. What else can you say? And his striking, yeah, it's definitely improved. A lot improved. And if you look at the earlier days, and I think, listen, man, there are a lot of new MMA fans who think like this is the Charles Oliveira always been, and that's not true. The Charles Oliveira from back in the day, if he got hit well, he pretty much gave up, or I don't want to say gave up, but he didn't came back. He was like finished when he got in trouble. You know what I mean? And right now, when he gets in trouble, he actually fights better after he gets in trouble.
Yep.
So it's really impressive, and man, can't say anything bad about Charles Oliveira. It's amazing what he showed again.
Yeah, I mean, he's really a stud, man. He really is. And again, he's only 32, Marcel. He's in his prime still. So
super young in the UFC.
Pardon?
Came super young in the UFC.
Yeah, he's been since he was 20 years old. That's crazy, eh? I started covering MMA in 2010, Marcel. That's when he started fighting in the UFC. I've been covering for a while. So he's like the first year. So I remember him really well. And I'm just blown away by his improvements over the years. So what's next for him? We don't know yet. He called out Conor. I think he beats Conor right now.
I don't want to see that fight, dude. I understand the money, but I don't want to
right?
See the
dude, this guy. Did you want the countdown? Right? You see where he came from? That favela.
Of course.
Like he comes from the slums, man. Like he can really change his family's life and extended family's life if he gets that fight. Go ahead,
Adam. Let's be really honest, dude. If the UFC pays him, let's say they pay him $200,000 to fight Islam Makhachev, and they pay him $1 million to fight Conor McGregor. Of course, he takes the second one, but the UFC should pay him more to fight Makhachev, in my opinion.
So that should be the next fight. That should be the fight, right? And by the way, go ahead.
If they don't give it to Makhachev and Charles wants to wait till December, imagine Volkanovski beating Holloway for the third time. I have no problem seeing Volkanovski getting an immediate title shot against Oliveira if he beats Holloway again, Absolutely no problem.
I saw your tweet. I agree with that too. I mean, he's in the mix too. But I think Makhachev's been waiting a while. They want to book this Darius fight, but I don't think we really need to see that fight, to be honest.
No, me neither. I don't see why they are so high on it, because I feel like Dana wants to punish Islam for not taking the short notice fight against RDA. Islam wanted to take it at 170 or at 160, I think, or whatever. And RDA definitely wanted at 155, which I can understand. He was going down to 155. So, and then Islam said, probably not, I'm not going to take that at 155. And now Dana wants to punish him for it. It's like, dude, he actually gave you a handle to get it. RDA didn't want it at the fight, which was his good right to say no to that weight. And then Islam said, okay, then I'm not going to do it at 155. I mean, what's your deal? You know what I mean? He fought like 1 or 2 weeks before. We know, Makhachev puts on a lot of weight as a 155er. So I don't think he should be blaming him for it, and I feel Dana tries to blame him for it.
No, I know what you're saying. So anyways, as soon as that fight ended, I went to check if there were odds, and there were, right? It was minus 410 on Saturday night. Now it's down to minus 225. So the money's coming in a little bit on Oliveira. But right now, Makhachev is a minus 225 favorite. So, again, everyone's like, oh, he'll finally get the respect now. Well, then you look at the line. I don't really see him getting the respect in this line. That being said, it's a really hard fight, so.
Exactly. It's what we talked about this a little. Listen, guys, we never talk about fights, but we talk about odds, like this, for example. And I talked with Adam about this, like and I can say, you're like, why is Oliveira again an underdog? And I was like,
I didn't say that. I never said that.
No. He is again, like the line was kind of high before. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but on the other hand, who's going to pick against Makhachev?
I know.
So it's very hard.
I don't really.
Sorry, I said it wrong, man.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I get why he's the favorite. There's so much hype on this guy right now. I get it. That's the thing. You got to look at the lines. It's not necessarily. It's not who they think will win. It's who they think it's who the public will bet on. It's how they get the best two-way action. It doesn't necessarily. This doesn't mean that the odds makers are picking Makhachev to win this fight by any means. So that's the thing that I think some people don't understand sometimes. That being said, Marcel, I do think the line will go down a little bit. I think you will see some more people betting on Oliveira, but I do think Makhachev will close as the favorite for this fight, guys. It's still early if it happens. We don't know yet, but I believe he will be favored, Marcel. And I think that it's a very hard fight to call. I have to think about it more. But at the same time, Makhachev's a great wrestler, but if the fight goes to the ground, Marcel, I mean, Oliveira, you want to go to the ground with this guy, and on the feet, he's improved. So I think it's a really close fight. To me, it's more of like a coin flip type of fight. That's why I think the line will come down. So that's the fight that should happen next. As far as Gaethje goes, we didn't really talk about him much, but I think, maybe a Poirier rematch would be fun. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight again. He could fight like the winner of RDA and Fiziev. That's another fight. There's a lot of fights. Bobby Green would be a fun fight. I know he's kind of unranked probably, but it's just a fun fight, Marcel. So there's a lot of fights for him too. But, Gaethje up 0-2 in UFC title fights, guys. I understand he lost to two of the best of all time. Could be even Charles Oliveira, but he lost both of them, Marcel. And I just don't really see him getting shot anytime soon. He'd have to go on probably like a 5-fight win streak to get another title shot, I would assume, Marcel. And he's a great fighter. Anyways, anything else you want to talk about here? Because I want to get some comments. Anything else you want to mention?
Go ahead, man.
All right, guys, I'm going to go through the comments here. I mean, there was a lot of people talking about it. You guys are talking about the scale a little bit. Aid Loco said about Charles' performance with low kick defense. Yeah, man, he did check them, and he checked them well. And again, knocks down Gaethje with a straight punch. It was really impressive. Oliveira could have faked and almost pulled and stayed as champ. Glad he did. Me too, Glenn. He's a warrior. Tristan, I agree. I mean, it's not really necessarily his chin, Tristan. It's just his recovery and his ability to stay in the fight. Because before, like you said, Marcel, he would have looked for a way out. He was going to turtle up against the fence, wait for the referee to stop the fight. He doesn't do that anymore. And I do think some of these knockdowns he's had, like he almost is inviting a guy to jump into his guard, Marcel. He wanted Gaethje to go into his guard, And Gaethje's like, nope, I'm not doing it. It still ends up losing anyways. Sign me up for Oliveira. Hey, what's up, Marcus? Sign me up for Oliveira and Makhachev in October in Abu Dhabi. I think that makes a lot of sense, right, Marcel? Like that's what's that card? UFC 281, I think it's called.
Yeah, 281.
Yeah, that makes sense. That fight makes sense. Sweet Times, what's up, man? We're talking about split decisions. Dude, there was a lot of them. We'll talk about the judging. So some of the judging was very questionable.
And people want to have 5 judges, right? To get
oh, my God. We'll talk about the judging. Charles, better resume and accomplishments. Khabib, look at the stats. Khabib's 29-0 is padded. I think he actually has a better, win streak, Marcel, to be honest with you. He's beating better guys, I think.
I kind of hate it when people say it's padded, He
I wouldn't say it's padded. Like you said, that Edler Eldarov guy, the guy he beat, remember in his first fight?
Yeah, for sure. He's
good, right? But I
think he even has a win over Ali Bargov as well. So yeah.
I do think his resume is really good, though, man. I mean, he's beaten a lot of guys. Some guys that Khabib didn't beat, right? Like Ferguson. But a lot of the guys are the same, too, like Poirier and Gaethje. So they're both very similar, man. I mean, I think you'd have to give the edge to Khabib because he hasn't lost, right? But it's tough.
Also, different styles, you know what I mean? Absolutely different styles.
Grinding wrestler versus submission artist / apparently a knockout artist, too, now.
Yeah.
Oliveira RDA would be sick. That would be a good fight. RDA's got to get a few more wins, though, I think. I love RDA, though. I think RDA is competitive in that fight. He matches up. It's all matchups, right, Marcelo? I think RDA matches up decently well. What's up, Alex? Does Charles have a better resume than Khabib? It's close, man. I think it's close because Khabib, he does have some good wins, right? He has some great wins like Poirier, Gaethje, etc. But, he's done. He can't add to it anymore. Oliveira could still, Oliveira's younger than Khabib is right now, by the way. He can still add to his winning streak. Go ahead.
You're really going to get now people going to say oh, Khabib should have fought Oliveira the whole damn time.
I want to see that fight, though.
Yeah, but we know it's not going to happen. Let's be really honest, And the only thing, in the Dutch podcast I was earlier today, Dennis, he said, maybe there's a possibility if Islam loses to Charles, and he loses in a bad way, that Khabib is fuck it, they're coming back and I'm going for a title again. That's the only possibility. But Khabib made a promise that he was going to stop with his MMA
to his mother, right?
To his mother. So I don't think he will.
I know, and he's very religious and just very strict on that kind of stuff. I know he promised his father at his grave that he was going to retire and vacate the belt. Mm-hmm. How many wins Charles need to be last lightweight of all time? He's got 12 now, right? So I think Khabib had 12, I think, too, right? They're both 12-0, I think. Or sorry, Charles is 12-1 at lightweight. It's tough. Think about it. Charles fought all those fights at featherweight. Had he been fighting at lightweight, he'd have a lot more wins on his resume over lightweights, Marcel? Mm-hmm. And to be fair, a lot of his wins at 145 were against guys that eventually moved up to lightweight too, I mean, locker room, what's up, man? How's it going, buddy? Hope you're doing well. Islam and Leal. I mean, I just don't. They could do the fight. I just don't think we need to see. I think Islam's deserving of a title shot right now, personally. So, and Beneil's still out with a broken leg, is he not, Marcel? He's not close to being healthy yet. So, What's up, Ryan? He says, think of all the money you can make fading Connor if he fought Oliveira. I would pick Oliveira hands down in that fight. I don't even have to think about it very much, Marcel. Connor could land that punch in the first round, but other than that, how does he win? He said he'd give Volkanovski a title shot. He did say something similar to that, so it's possible. I see some other questions about other divisions. Joseph's asking about 115. We'll talk about that fight in a second. We'll go to that fight. I just want to get some last questions about the lightweight division. Charles and Chase Hooper, you mean, debuted at the same age, but the well-roundedness is clear. I mean, no doubt. Chase Hooper's he's actually fighting, I think, next week or 2 weeks from now. Next week, right? Yeah, we'll talk about that fight next week. Getting a title shot after beating Bobby Green on the curb top 10. I know what you're saying, Glenn. I get it, but at the same time, we all know he's very dominant, and he does have the win over Armin. That's very nice, at the same time, right? So we'll talk about that too. We'll go to the other fights in a second. I'm good with Oliveira, Makhachev, and Abdabi. What's up, Litchell? What's going on, man? I think that's it for Marcel for this fight. I mean, we have a lot of other fights to talk about. Are you good with, you good with this one? Okay. All right, let's get into the shit show of the night now. Carla Esparza defeats Rose Namajunas by split decision in, I would say it's the worst UFC title fight of all time, honestly. I know a lot of people bring up Anderson and Damian Maia. That fight was garbage too.
Romero.
Yoel Romero, yeah, he had as Sonya fight was horrible. You know what this fight? Do you remember this fight? It was actually 10 years ago next month. What's his name? Clay Guida fought Gray Maynard in the rematch, and it was 5 rounds of them just dancing around. Remember that fight? It was horrible. You remember that? I
remember it was a bad fight. Yeah,
it was horrible. It was I think that was one of my worst. That for me, that was one of the worst fights of all time. I'm just looking at the stats for that.
Maynard was super upset. I remember that.
It was a split decision, I believe, for what's his name, our guy here. I'm just looking at the stats. Where's for Guida? Trying to find out. Yeah, okay, so. Here, I'm going to pull up. I'm looking at it right now. So that was also 5 rounds. Gray Maynard landed 49 strikes. Guida 45. So that was shit output for 5 rounds, right? But this fight was even worse, Marcel. Even worse. 37 for Rose and 30 for Carla. Just historically low output. The fight was absolute garbage. It was just a bad fight. It wasn't fun to watch. It was more fun talking about how shit the fight was on Twitter than actually watching the fight. Seeing the MMA community just trash the fight was hilarious. It was just a bad fight. It doesn't make sense either because it's not like it was a preliminary card fight between 2 UFC debuters where they have the octagon jitters. I would understand that, Marcel. You had the 2 arguably best strawweights in the world for the title, and neither fighter wanted to engage in this fight. It was just very bizarre. A very, very bizarre, weird fight. I picked Rose by decision. I know Marcel picked Carla by decision. Literally, Marcel, I think you could have flipped a coin. That's what I think you could have did.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's any there's no strong lean about who actually won this fight. I don't think it was just a really close fight. Anyways, what are you going to say quickly?
I mean, there was someone asked me, how did you score the fight? I was like, dude, I didn't even bother. I didn't even care. That's how bad that fight was. And let's be honest, I also didn't give him my scorecard for MMA decisions because it just didn't felt like to score it at all. The thing is, I felt that Rose had way too much respect for Carla's ground game. You know what I mean? She was really hesitant and really afraid to get taken down. And even she stopped some takedowns, but she was really hesitant. And I think that's because of the first fight, probably. And for Carla always tries to take you down. That's what she does. And then she doesn't get the takedown. She's not a really good striker. She's pretty much the equivalent for women's for Ben Askren. You know what I mean? If it comes to striking, She is not a good striker. She improved over the years for sure. But Carla was only going to win this fight if she could get Rose down,
Yep.
And if Rose was passive, and she was super passive, and Carla was as well, but she still went forward trying something, but she also didn't do a lot.
Bro, this is sad as fuck to look at, honestly. This is terrible, Marcel. Look at this. 4 significant strikes landed, 3 significant strikes. Marcel, this is horrible to look at, don't you think?
It's crazy. You know what I mean?
Embarrassing.
It's absolutely, yeah, it is. I mean, and they probably know that themselves as well. So
this is crazy. Carla Esparza landed less than 5 strikes under 10 in 3 and all 5 of the rounds and won the fight. Wow. Only 2 rounds had more than 10 significant strikes landed, and there was no takedowns either, really.
No, but just because of advancing and Rose.
That's okay. So that's the thing. I want to talk about the actual scoring. So here's the thing. This is one of those fights. There was no effective striking and grappling. So I think you do go to the next criteria, aggressiveness and octagon control. That's what I think the judges did. and that's why they gave it to Carla, because she actually walked forward.
Yeah.
She actually had the pressure. That's the only reason she won, Marcel, because she advanced. That's it.
Mhm.
That's terrible when it gets that far, because it should never get to that point. There should
course.
almost always be a winner through the effective striking and grappling, but not in this fight. And I think the judging was okay. I'm like you. It was a very hard fight to score, but I think that they got it right. I think
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think so.
Agree.
I like Litchell. Again, Litchell, you know, it's not like this was an easy fight to score, but I kind of agree with these rounds. This is kind of what I thought too, Marcel. This is what I had too. 1, 2, and 4. I had a 48, 47, 4-2. I mean, it wasn't a confident 48, 47, but that's what I thought.
Rose literally won the 5th round because of the takedown at the last 3 seconds. So it's like, man, it was just bad, you know. And I see people are like convinced about their scorecard sometimes on Twitter. It was definitely this. Shut the fuck up, you know.
There was no definition about this fight, any round.
Definitely not.
None. Again, I'm fine with Esparza winning. 49-46, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but I think that's closer than the other way around. I don't see how you could give Rose 4 rounds.
And what the hell was Pat Barry saying to Rose?
We got to talk about that. So you got some comments here. By the way, this guy's here, Southpaw. What's up, man? Do you guys think Rose came in cocky over the Carla? I think she was very cocky, dude. She was, after the fight, she still saying, "I'm the best. It's so annoying, dude. Honestly, like, I get you have to hype yourself up. You're trying to talk yourself into it, but like, that's after she lost. She was still saying at the press conference. Now she's apologized for that, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
She has to convince herself about something.
It's very bizarre. Pat Barry should not even been in her corner. He should not even be in her corner. It should only have been Trevor Whitman. Having said that, Trevor gave her shit advice. You're up all 4 rounds. You're winning the whole fight. How could you say that to your fighter in this fight? And he's one of the better coaches in MMA. He's a very smart dude. And he does the scoring sometimes. You know, Marcel, he's done it actually during the events. They've had him like on doing analysis. How could you tell her that she was up 4 rounds in this fight? I would have said, listen, this fight's really close. We have no idea how this fight's being scored. You have to finish the fight. That's what I would have said to her, Marcel.
For sure.
Right? Like, why lie to the fighters? Why lie to them?
The thing is, I think if you got to be not a yes man in your corner. I would say Trevor is a yes man. Definitely,
I think Pat Barry is, though.
Yeah, for sure. The thing is, if you really like somebody or love somebody or is really close to you, you tend to see more positivities for the fighter you want to win than the fighter you go against. You know, you see more negativities for them. Yeah. So you have to have a clear mind, I think, in the corner. It's honestly easier said than done. Obviously,
it's tough, man. Trust me. Yeah. I mean, it's not MMA or anything, but I had my Muay Thai fight. I remember being in the corner and my corner was like, "Dude, you're doing great." And I'm thinking to myself, "No, I'm not. I'm getting hurt in this fight." Like, but they're trying to hype you up. But at the same time, you have to be realistic, especially that title fight. You have to tell them the truth. That's why I love a coach like Saif Saud. Earlier in the fight, the Fernie Garcia fight, he's like, "Dude, you're going to lose this fight. You have to go out there and leave everything. I don't want you complaining in the back. Oh, I should have did more." That's the fucking shit they need to hear, Marcel.
I love Saif Saud, man. And sometimes, I talk to fighters sometimes, you know. For example, I talked to one, I'm not going to say the name today, and the person is like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry for my performance." Like, dude, never say sorry. You know, if you feel like you went full for the rounds you were fighting, you know, and something happens, it happens, you know. But you probably come back stronger from it. But never say sorry if you did your best, you know what I mean? And you don't owe me anything, you know. You don't owe people anything. You just owe yourself a good fight, being prepared, showing up, and doing your best you can, you know. And if you do that, you don't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? At this fight, I don't say they owe people anything, but please do something. You know what I mean? This was just such a horrible fight.
It was so bad. Let me get some comments. There's a lot of comments. Tristan, it's a bad precedent having fights that damn expensive. I mean, that's the thing. People are paying what? It's like, isn't it like $75 now, Tristan, in Canada? It's really expensive. And, you know, if you'd paid for that, and the whole card, honestly, except for the main event, really, and the Chandler fight, it wasn't the best pay-per-view, you know? Glenn says the round 1 wasn't a coin flip because he thinks Octagon Control was very clear. That's hilarious. I mean, you're right, but I'm just saying it's funny that we had to go to the third criterion, Marcel, to score the fight. Dixon, what's up, man? Thug froze. Looked like she was in there with a dollar. It was bad. Thug froze. That's funny. I had it 49-46 Carla, 5th win. So I think that's understandable. The only round Rose really won was the 5th, I guess. You know, there was it wasn't even clear, but she won the round.
Bro, I saw somebody with a 49-46.
I don't agree with that.
I don't know who it was anymore, but wow.
I don't agree with that, Marcel, either. We'll just say that. To me, it's crazy Rose complaining. I know. I hate it, too. Fight was bad, but like the decision because I don't like that you have to be the champ thing. That's not even in the rule book. That's just, like, I think that's probably from, like, boxing or something, like, where it came here. You don't have to beat the champ like necessarily. You have to win the rounds to win.
It's kind of a fairy tale story.
Yeah, I don't really agree with that. I'm with you, Litchell, on that one, man. I think once the fight starts, the belt shouldn't even be relevant at that point. What's up, Ali? He says Rose saying the boozer for Carla was disappointing as a Rose fan. It was, and Trevor Whitman was saying that too in the corner. Was he not, Marcel, saying, "Oh, they're booing Carla" or something? Like they were booing both of them.
Yeah, it was just
look at this. Trevor went from Whitman to shit. That's actually kind of funny. I think he's a great coach, but this was just bizarre. Hey, what's up, Dan? How can Whitman say she was up 4 rounds? I have no clue. I have no idea.
Maybe he had some coffee the day before with Antonio McKee. I don't know.
He had the rose. Did you see the color of his sunglasses? They were rose colored. I think that's what it was. He had the rose colored sunglasses on. This is hilarious. The guy was saying it's the perfect fight to run at the same time as Canelo Bivol. And by the way, Canelo lost. I didn't watch the fight, but I heard he lost. That's crazy.
I was talking during the fight with Gilbert Eiffel. And he was like, I finally woke up to watch some fights. Normally, I watch it back the day after. Yeah. So I was like, what do you think about this fight? And he showed me a picture. He had the fight out here, and he had Canelo versus, what's the guy's name? Bivol. He had on his lap, he had the laptop on. So he's like, I'm watching this right now.
Oh, this is a good comment. John said, remember when Aspen Lad coach, which is Jim West, was getting ripped? That's what Rose needed. Dude, I agree. And people were ripping her because it was basically a man yelling at a woman. But it's a fight. And because they're dating, it's just stupid. That the criticism for that was really dumb. I think Jim, regardless of what you think of his relationship with Aspen, if you think that's a weird relationship, fair enough, whatever. That's nothing to do with their actual coaching.
I blame Tate.
He's a good coach. Pardon?
I blame Tate.
I know Tate really instigated that one. I'm the best, man. It was annoying to hear that, especially after the fight, Do you guys believe more faults on Roach for not engaging? Are you critical of Esparza's activity? I think they're both to blame. And I will say this, I think the referee's to blame too. How the fuck do you not be like, time, come here, guys, hold their wrist and say, you guys aren't engaging. I'm going to take a point from both of you for timidity. Why did he not do that, Marcel Keith Peterson? Why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't know, but yeah, I have no idea. But to answer
would you have taken a point for timidity? I would have.
The thing is, you should have taken a point from both. So
yeah, for
it
both
stays
of them.
The same.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it does, but at least it gives them that message that, hey, you got to do more.
Yeah.
And if this was a pride fight, they would have both been given a yellow card for not doing anything.
And then you lose a part of your money.
Yeah, they didn't lose their money.
So yeah.
Rose had nightmares of takedowns. I mean, she must have. It was just a very bizarre fight. Anyways, anything else you want to talk about this fight? We should move on.
We should move on, I think, man. We already.
I know we're like it's 5:40. We're 2 fights in. Oh my god. Okay, we'll go through the rest of them quickly. Actually, we'll give the time to this one.
Yeah.
Michael Chandler knocks out Tony Ferguson. Brutal front kick, incredible front kick, just amazing. My God. I mean, I knew he'd win, obviously, but I thought it'd be like a decision, which was kind of playing out that way. And then he gets the incredible knockout. Ferguson, 4 straight losses now, Marcel, and 2 by knockout. He's getting up there in age. Chandler, listen, Chandler, very exciting guy. I don't know if he'll be UFC champ because I think defensively, Marcel, very, very hittable. Marcel, and he might have lost that first round, by the way, in this fight. It's possible he lost that first round.
Chandler has one problem.
What?
He's not always using his fight IQ.
Dude, why is he should be wrestling more. Remember that takedown he had in the first round? Like how powerful it was?
Maybe even won him the first round.
Yeah,
maybe.
It's possible.
But
yeah,
it was like pretty at the half of the first round.
I didn't know who won the first round. I just knew that he had to win the second and third. He was good for sure. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that knockout was incredible. And you guys all saw the picture of it looked like Frankie Edgar when Marlon Vera knocked him out. That same, just the face, the way, just like, it's almost like you could see Tony's soul being sucked out of his body. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, I love Chandler, man, and he hit that great promo on the mic after. He's 36. He's been a guy who's been in Bellator for years. I know he was getting paid well there, but obviously, I get why he called it Conor McGregor. I get it, and I think I would rather see that than Charles Oliveira versus Conor. I'd rather see Chandler versus Conor. So I think that would be next for him, or maybe you could do Poirier and Chandler. They haven't fought yet.
I like that.
You like that fight? That's a good one, eh?
Yeah, by the way, Tony won on all 3 judges' scorecards the first round.
I don't mind that. I don't hate it. But I thought it was, watching it live, I thought maybe it was close, Anyways, the knockout was brutal. Do you think Tony gets released? I mean, we know he gets paid on. You think they keep him for another fight?
I think they keep him. He's a fan favorite. He
He's
sells tickets.
Right? Yeah.
Although he was critical on Dana,
I know, that's what I'm asking you, because he was talking shit all week, calling him a drug dealer and all this stuff. So
yeah, but we didn't. I think Strickland did as well. I think Colby did as well. So I mean, I think Strickland called him a pimp and they were the hookers or whatever. I don't know, whatever. But, it happens. And I think he's an entertaining fighter. And I think he showed in the first round, in the first 2.5 minutes, that he still can go,
And literally, he's lost to 4 of the top 5 guys. Literally.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's not like he wasn't competitive with Gaethje and he wasn't competitive with Chandler. The Dariush and Oliveira fights were bad for him. I understand that. But give him somebody
Bobby Green? Would you do that fight?
I have no problem with it.
You know what I mean? Fun, and it would probably be competitive, right?
Give him Dober.
Dober, that's a good fight. I mean, listen, I don't know if he wins these fights, but they're more winnable than a guy like Chandler. I never thought he'd beat Chandler. I didn't think at all. Did you?
Yeah, let's be honest, man. He's not going to be. I know disrespect to Ferguson. Yeah. He was on a 12-fight win streak, amazing fighter. With a 4-fight losing streak, you're not going to be a champion probably anymore at the age he is right now. Yeah. So give him fun matchups, but don't give him guys like he's going to be in trouble. And he lost 4 straight now. Give him still a good opponent, but give him a less top opponent right now. And that's why I think Dober, man. Dober's a great fighter. Sure. He always comes to scrap as well. This is a fun fight,
I don't mind that fight at all. By the way, Chandler, 4 fights in the UFC. All 4 of the fights were incredible to watch. I mean, this guy's he's a lot of fun. Isn't he, Marcel? He's just a lot of fun. I don't think I think his fight IQ is fine, but for some reason, he's not using it he's fighting tough fights that are harder than they should be. If he just wrestled, he'd win these fights easily, in my opinion. Let me get these comments. I saw Chandler was minus 150 for Conor potential fight. If he were to wrestle, he'd look. I think he's just wrestling, right? Why'd even stand with him? Yeah. Joanna would do the Rose last Saturday. Joanna would have beaten that version of Rose. I remember watching the first fight with my friends because we all got together. It was the GSP card when he fought Bisping. And one of my buddies had a pretty big bet on Rose, and I'm like, "You're fucking crazy, dude. She's gonna get destroyed." And she just knocks her out. I was like, "Okay, I'll shut up now." That's the thing. You love this sport because you never know, right? I know you thought the same thing in the first fight. I know you did.
One of the best cards, I think.
That fight, that 217, wasn't it?
217 in New York.
That card was insane. That card was really good card.
All number 1 contenders won, right? Or all challengers won.
Yeah, that was a crazy card. Yeah, and TJ beat Garbrandt. I think Dana said neither Chandler or Ferguson would have their. Yeah. I just think not from this fight, but just from the fact he's lost 4 straight. Tony RDA would be good too. Yeah. Tony and Hooker. Actually, that fight makes sense. Hooker would make sense. That would be a good one, Marcel. Hooker's ranked too, technically. So best guy he fought in short. He just got caught, to be honest. I mean, I kind of agree because he did look good in that first round, competitive, but he got knocked out again. So I think the chin's going a little bit too, right, Marcel? That kick knocks out everyone, right? There's no one that survives that kick, right?
Is that the nastiest front kick you've seen in the UFC?
Everyone is saying that. I still think it's Anderson and Vitor Belfort.
I don't think that was the nastiest because that wasn't
recency bias, right? I get it. But if you say I can't really say you're wrong. It's an opinion.
But you know why?
It's Anderson Vitor.
I understand it, but you know why? Because with Anderson Vitor was still not completely out. It was a great kick. Don't get me wrong. He was not completely out. Edgar Vera was crazy. Which one? Edgar Vera against Edgar.
Yeah. There's a few other ones. Didn't Machida have a good one?
Against Couture.
Or Couture. No, that was the jumping crane kick. Yeah. If you want to call it a front kick, it's fine. But I want to say Machida did it to Vitor Belfort too, didn't he? When they fought the second time, let me double check. I think he did him. Yeah, it was. He knocked him with the front kick. Vitor got knocked with 2 front kicks in UFC. It's crazy. Anyways, I think there's 10 overall in the UFC or something. It's a very rare finish. Ferguson, Terrence McKinney. That fight would be good for the 2 minutes it lasts. That's for sure. Anyways, let's go to the next fight here. This one we're gonna buy quick. OSP defeats Shogun. I think the right guy won. It was a horrible fight. Basically, that teep kick to the body, Marcel won him the fight. That just that little dip, that basically won him the fight. Fight was garbage. Shogun, I just don't really have an urge to see him fight. I mean, he's one of my favorites of all time, but this was just a bad fight by him. And both guys a bad fight, but I think the right guy won. What do you think?
The most unnecessary rematch maybe in the history of the sport, And why the fuck nobody threw in a skateboard, Would have been something fun at least. No, it was a bad fight, I said it as well. I didn't like the boost because Shogun's in there, he's a legend. But it was a bad fight, you know what I mean? I think OSP... I barely can say deservedly won, but he won on my scorecard as well. It was such a bad fight, dude. Just overall bad. It was really there were a 39-year-old against a 40-year-old, but it looked like a 60-year-old against a 61-year-old. It was very slow. I still don't know why the UFC thought that was a good idea to rebook this fight, had to put it on the main card. I understand it for Shogun's name, but it wasn't a good fight. Yeah, let's talk about another fight. It was really not good.
It was bad. Someone said Shogun versus Sam Alvey. You could do. I mean, that's a
Alvey
winnable
wins.
fight.
Everybody gets
Shogun
pissed.
Jailton's moved up to heavyweight now. Jailton's at heavyweight.
Yeah.
He's fighting Parker Porter. Next fight, we both picked this one, Marcel. Slight underdog here. Randy Brown defeats Chaos Williams. Very close fight, too. How'd you score the third round? Because Chaos dropped him, and then Randy Brown kind of had a little comeback. What do you think about the scorecards? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it was correct, man. I had the first round for Randy, the second round for Chaos, and the third for Randy. The thing is, I know he knocked him down, ever so slightly, but he knocked him down.
Yep.
But I think Randy did better in the round. You know, he was
Yeah.
more crisp. He landed better shots, in my opinion, despite the knockdown. But people always tend to, for the fighter, like, wins because he gets a knockdown. But if you look at the whole round, I think Brown was better.
Right.
You know, in that round. So
Fair
that's why I
enough.
went for Brown.
Yeah, I think it could have. Honestly, I think this was a coin flip on the.
Oh, yeah, it could have
on
been
the
either way.
scorecards. They asked Randy. I watched the post-fight press conference. They were asking him, like, "Did you think you won?" He said, "I wasn't sure." He said, "I know he knocked me down, and I got tagged." And he said, "I honestly wasn't sure what the judges would say." But he said, "I thought I won, but because of the knockdown, I thought they might have went the other way."
At least he's honest.
Yeah, exactly. I like the honesty. I love Randy Brown. Randy Brown versus D-Rod would be a great fight. Randy Brown deserves some of the top 15. I think the winner was going to get a top 15 guy, right, of this fight, Marcel? I would assume. Jeff Neal, have they fought before? That would be a fun fight. That would be a good fight, right? I like Randy Brown, man. He's a good fighter. He's kind of grown up in the UFC too. So the next one, I didn't really see this one coming, guys. Trinaldo looked amazing, I thought, against Dane Roberts.
Was my fight of the night, actually.
Pardon? This was your fight of the night? Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second, the fight of the night award. But this was a pretty good fight, but I think that Trinaldo looked really good. And they get 43 and still winning fights. Him, Arlovsky, and I guess Oleinik just won his fight, but rarely guys this age win. But I think him and Arlovsky are two of the guys really proving that trend wrong. And I think he looked better than ever, Marcel. He looked great. And Roberts, again, talented guy, Marcel. That chin is just a question mark, Marcel.
Don't forget Teixeira, by the way. Yeah, I mean...
Who?
Teixeira, Glover Teixeira.
Oh, Glover. Yeah, of course. Sorry. Yeah. So, he's 42.
Yeah. This was my fight of the night because I thought it was a really good fight. It went forward. I had Ronaldo winning here. He looked very good, and I didn't expect it from him, to be honest. I really had the feeling like Danny Roberts finally came into the zone and could do something. He had a few good moments in the fight, but overall, Ronaldo was the better fighter, and he landed good shots. Really impressed with Masaranduba.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, it's crazy. I've been watching this guy in the UFC for 10 years. I remember his fight on Tough Brazil, guys. He quit on the stool in that fight. I was like, this guy, I guess Thiago Perpetua, remember that guy?
Yeah, and Perpetua was like, dude, come on, this is your life. Let's fight.
Remember that? That was May 13th, 2012. Literally almost a decade ago to the day today, guys. Incredible. And I never thought he'd be much of the UFC, and he's really proven me wrong because he's won a lot of fights over the years. I've picked him in a lot of fights, but I've been going against him the last couple of years. It hasn't really panned out, Marcel. I've been picking against him like the last 5 fights probably. He's won like almost all of them. So the guy's very good still. He's not going to be a Hall of Famer or anything, but he's in that Hall of very good, He's just below those guys. Like
very good.
Hall of very good. That's what they call in baseball. Like where guys aren't good enough for the Hall of Fame, they call it the Hall of very good, like a really good fighter. Because I think he's got 15 wins on the UFC, something like that. Like he's got a lot of wins in the UFC, Marcel.
Really good, yeah.
Terrell must have been on himself by decision. Could have easily got Roberts. I saw that post fight. He said that Roberts, he thought he could have knocked him out, but it was hard for him. No, Chaos was credited. They gave him a knockdown. So he was a Chaos, Max Schnell, and Gaethje all had knockdowns and lost their fights. Now, in Oliveira's case, he got also a knockdown, but the other three, the other two, I mean, they knocked their opponent down and they ended up losing. So just because you knock someone down doesn't mean you're going to win the fight. Marcel, doesn't mean it gives you an advantage, obviously, because you get to, hurt a guy, but 2 fights in 3 events, we've seen him the fight fall off. We'll talk about that right now, actually. I'm so sorry, Glenn. I completely forgot to mention that. Wow. I mean, how shitty was that? I was really looking forward to Cerrone and Lozon. Especially now, Marcel, knowing that Cerrone was sick, Lozon would have definitely knocked him out if he was coming in there compromised. But, he apparently went to a taco restaurant the night before and got sick. Very weird. I think obviously a hard weight cut played a role in that, Marcel, because his body was just obviously a little off. They're saying that he might not be able to make 155 again. So that's an issue because Lozon wants to fight back at 155, but they're not sure. I think in an ideal world, they would do it on the July 2nd card, opening up that pay-per-view, Marcel, the next pay-per-view. But I don't know if it's going to happen. And also, I don't watch Ariel's show, but I heard that Lozon hasn't got paid his show money. He's hoping he does, but he hasn't got paid it. How would he not get paid? He stepped on the scale, made weight. They have to pay it to him, right?
For sure.
But then again, I remember Ed Herman. There was a fight a few weeks ago, I want to say. No, last year, Ed Herman. He was supposed to fight.
They said, "Oh, we book you soon."
Yeah, and they're like, "We'll give you $10K, and then we'll be booking in a few weeks," and it never happened. So, what's up, Whale Rider? Dan, I had it too, man. I had round 1 by knockout, and I still think that was a good spot. I think
and
that
also,
was a good spot.
What bothers me even more, man, is that they really said it like 3 or 4 fights into the card or something, and they knew it before because Rogan was like, earlier today he had food poisoning. So I was like, dude, so you knew it before, so you could have said it before the card started. You know what I mean?
And it screws people over that play fantasy because you get 0 points for both guys. So it's just dead money. You're giving money away. I know people are really turned off by that. I don't know what the solution is, but it's bad. And let's keep going through the card. Chasson defeats Dumont split decision. I thought she won clearly. I thought probably 29-28, but I thought she definitely won. I'm not sure what Junichiro Kamicho was watching. I mean, how do you give that fight to Dumont? I don't get it. Chasson won, right? In your opinion too?
Oh yeah, the first 2 rounds.
That's what I had. I had the same scorecard as you.
Yeah, not my favorite fight, anyways, but well done by Macy Chasson, right? So yeah.
Right.
And Norma Dumont
missed weight.
Absolutely shit the bed. She missed weight and she lost the fight. If she made weight and she won the fight, she would have probably fought for 145 title against Nunes.
Yeah, I agree. Now Chasson, I guess, is like, this division sucks, but I mean, she's automatically a contender. She gets destroyed probably by Amanda, but she could beat some of these girls. But yeah, by the way, I really like the fact that they took 30% of her purse. I Saif Saud, again, Marcel, he was like, he's her manager, I think, too, right?
Yeah.
And he's the coach. He was like 30%. And that's what anytime someone misses weight, if it's 0.5 or and Charles too. But remember last week with Rob Font Vera, and I know Vera's like, I don't want to take guys' money, but if I'm Jason House, I'm like, we're taking 30% of Rob's purse, at least. And his was 2.5 pounds. Remember William Knight, they took 40% because he missed by like 10 pounds. So
do you remember when Calvin fought against Woodley?
Yeah, it was
I think he
pounds.
was like, and Woodley gave him the money back after the fight.
I know. That's kind of him, but it's a dog-eat-dog world, man. Yeah. And I think if your opponent misses weight, I would take the money. I don't think you're a bad person because you're following the rules. The other person broke them. Let's go to the next fight. Brandon Royval defeats Matt Schnell by guillotine, 2 minutes, 14 seconds. They both win fight of the night, $50,000 each for 2 minutes of fighting. Pretty crazy. I thought they would give Royval the bonus for the performance. I didn't think they would do fight of the night for this fight. Having said that, there weren't a lot of options, Trinaldo and Roberts was, I think, the other option, probably, Marcel, but there really weren't a lot of options unless you gave like Loopy a bonus for a performance because she had a really dominant one. Maybe you could have did that. I think they gave Schnell the money because his mom died. I think that's why, because they felt really, obviously Everett feels bad for him. He had a good fight, and they probably were like, you know what, let's give it to Matt. He's been a veteran he's been fighting for many years in the sport, and if that's the reason, I'm okay with it. So I don't know what your thoughts on that. That was my thoughts.
I think not the personal situation, but Matt got lucky with the performance bonus because I think if Charles did make weight, they probably gave it to Charles to all the finishes on the card. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now they went with this fight. I have no problem with it. You know what I mean? It was a fun fight. Matt looked great in the beginning, and at a certain moment he gave away his neck, and Royval jumped on it.
Yeah, it's crazy how he gave away the neck. I watched the fight back. It's just like he went like this. It was so dumb. I couldn't believe how dumb it was. Like, very surprising.
And he had the Matt Mitrione tap against
double
Rothwell.
tap. Yeah, against Rothwell. Yeah, does Matt get cut? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're gonna give him another fight. And obviously, again, his mom just died during his training camp, guys. Like, let's have some compassion for the dude. How would you feel if your mom died? It'd be the worst. Like, it would be horrible. And again, he's only losing to like really good guys, Marcel Pantoja, Royval, lately, anyways. I think he another fight.
And also losing like this because he was winning the fight.
Yeah, he knocked him down. I was like, oh shit, this is an upset. And then Royval gets the submission. I love Royval. By the way, I really like him, but how are people forgetting that he lost to Pantoja in his last fight? Pantoja's a forgotten guy in this division. Who talks about this dude? And he's really good. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next fight. Blagoy Ivanov defeats Rogério de Lima.
Oh god,
horrible fight. I mean, it was close. I thought the Lima might have edged it out, to be honest with you. I picked Ivanov by decision last week. The Ivanov by decision was plus 250. That was a very good bet. That was the only way he was going to win the fight. I think we both picked it by decision, right? Is that what you picked too?
Yeah, man. I told you it would have been a shit fight.
It was terrible, eh? It was bad.
But I think I had Marcos Rogério de Lima winning 29-28, I think. So
First and third, is that what you had?
First, I can't recall anymore, to be really honest. But it was a really shitty fight. It was an actual typical heavyweight fight, where guys after one round pretty much didn't have any gas anymore or whatever. And Ivanov, you can't put that guy out. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's an iron chin.
I know, he's never been knocked out. That's why I picked him, because he's never been knocked out. That's the only reason I picked him.
But bro, what a horrible fight to watch as well. I was so happy when it was over.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Let's go through a few other ones, but I just want to get this comment. Dan was talking about the crypto bonuses. This is complete garbage. And I knew it'd be like this. It's just popular fighters, but Rose getting a bonus of $30,000 in Bitcoin is a joke. Chandler and Oliveira got it, which is fine, but Rose getting the first place, that's a joke. This should only be opened up during the card. They shouldn't have voting like weeks before. That's so stupid. Like,
I agree.
This is so, you're just basically like, if you get in a pay-per-view or pop, you're going to get extra money. This is really stupid. And remember, people were like hyping it up when it happened. They're like, "Oh, this is so great for the fighters." No, it's really not great. Like, the fighters that deserve it don't get it, because the next guy we're talking about, Fialho, clearly deserves something, or even Royval we talked about. And it was Fialho. That was oh my god, what a crazy knockout! Eh? Like, I love this guy. Now he's got another fight. Do you know who he's fighting?
No idea.
Any guesses? Any guesses?
No, really, absolutely no idea. I really have no idea.
Do you think it'll be at 170, or would it be a weight class up because it's short notice? Probably 170 again.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. It's a month, so
I wonder. Yeah, it's a month from now. You're right. Well, not. Yeah, it's exactly a month basically. I don't know who he'd fight either. I really don't know. But I love how the guy's staying active though. It's great. Go ahead.
I honestly feel like they probably still need to find an opponent, dude. I think he probably asked like Dana, like, can I get on this card again? And Dana's like, yeah, sure, we find you an opponent. So yeah.
No, you're right. I'm just like, I can't even really think. I mean, from this card, I mean, Trinaldo or Brown makes sense, but they need time off probably. So I don't think those fights are going to happen. I'm not sure. Is there anyone like from Asia that's a welterweight that could fight him? Is there anyone? Because it's in Singapore.
Li Jingliang.
Man, that would be a good fight.
Oh no, Lee is not in time.
No, he can fight.
He can't fight. No.
I'm not sure who can fight. If you guys have suggestions, you could throw them in the chat.
Wang Guan? Is he still at the UFC?
I don't think he's
the dude who fought Alex Caceres in his debut and never saw again.
How about Munar Lazez? Could they do that fight? That would be a good fight, right?
Why
that would be a fucking good fight. That would be a good one. I'm just looking at guys who have like 2 wins in the UFC. Munar's got 2. I don't know, Marcel. I mean, Semmelsberger would be a fun fight if they could do him. I'm just looking at guys like ranked in the area. Gabe Green would be a fun fight. Like, there's some fun fights. That would be a really good fight, actually. Song Kenyon's also an Asian-based fighter.
Yeah.
He's got 4 wins. He is coming off a knockout loss, I believe. But if they could get him come back quickly, that makes sense, right? I think it would make sense. Just because, again, the card's in Singapore. So, all right, let's go with a couple more fights here, guys. Tracy Cortez defeats Melissa Gatto. She won the fight. It wasn't the most exciting performance, but she got the job done. Decision. Any thoughts on her performance? The fight went exactly what I thought, actually. So
I was actually impressed with what Tracy did. She did smart. She was 1-1 going into the third, and she won the third round by using her wrestling. She did really well, I think.
And Brian Ortega, who's her boyfriend, obviously, he was very realistic in the corner. He's like, hey, it's 1-1. You have to win the third round. Like, It wasn't like Pat Barry. He would have been like, yo, you're the best. You're the best. Like,
2 10-8 rounds.
I know. Anyway, she got the job done.
Yeah.
CJ Vergara wins a controversial decision over Clayton Rodriguez. Man, I regret not picking him last week. I really thought about him. I was so close to picking him, Marcel, plus the underdog. It is what it is. I actually don't even think he won the fight, to be honest with you. I thought that Clayton won the first and third round, but it was close enough that it could go the other way. But even I watched all the post-fight pressers. They asked CJ, do you think he won? He said, no, I thought I lost the fight. He said, I was surprised when the judges gave it to me. What do you think of that one, Marcel? I don't know. What do you think?
I respect that, honestly, if you said that. And, I'm actually more proud that I picked Clayton because I think we were right. You know what I mean? So
yeah, but it's just one of those things where the value was on the other side, obviously. Plus, it is what it is. But yeah, Clayton, I think, won that third because that calf slicer was nasty as hell. And by the way, crazy how Charles Oliveira is the only guy who has a calf slicer, and you almost saw the second one on the card. He headlines, right?
Yeah,
that was. CJ said that he's never been in that position, had no idea how to defend it. He was just trying to wiggle his way out, and basically, like, I think that I thought that Clayton dug really deep and won the fight. I really do. I thought that he did enough to win, but it was close enough where it's not a robbery anymore. So there's no way I'd call this a robbery.
I agree.
The other 2 fights, Lupi Godinez and Jordan Newsom, I think they both look great. I thought Lupi looked phenomenal against Ariane Carlos. He was just not very good, honestly, Marcel. Unless she's on top position, pounding your face in, she's not good. Very limited off her back. And then Journey, for me, that was kind of the surprise in the night. I was way off in that one. The guy looked really good playing the decision. I thought he looked good in this fight. Any other thoughts on those two?
Yeah, I think we have to highlight Lupi a little bit more here.
Sure.
Dude, she surprised me. I thought it would have been a close fight. I went with Ariane last week, right? And dude, the top control was amazing. She dominated 3 rounds. She landed strikes. I had 3 10-8 rounds, dude, and I don't know how the judges had that 30-27.
I had a 326 myself because I gave him a second round. But
I can see that.
I don't hate your scorecard by any means.
Yeah, but I hate 30-27. That's bad.
I don't like it either. But I mean, honestly, like, it's not like she was ever going to lose the fight. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was like 29-28. That would have been even worse. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, they should have been at least a 10-8 in there.
The only thing that I thought didn't make sense is when they were comparing her to. What are they comparing her to? Esparza's wrestling or something? Really weird was that, you know? It's like she is not fighting. Listen, this now is a really bad example because Esparza didn't look good in the title fight, but they were comparing her to somebody who was fighting in the top 3 right now in the division. I was like, Lupi is not fighting a top 15 fighter right now, so it's really weird. But I hope she gets a top 15 next. She should, I think.
She's very good. I mean, there's no doubt she's good at what she does with the wrestling. Yeah. But again, you know, I got to see more in the striking. And the one time she did fight, and Luana was up a weight class, but she did get picked apart a little bit in that fight, Marcel, on the feet. So I definitely think she's good, though. She's very good, and this was a great matchup for her. Anyways, and then Newsom, any thoughts on him?
Oh, very good fight by Newsom. I didn't expect his first official win. Actually, he had one, but it got overturned for marijuana, I think.
By the way, what did you think of the balloon thing at the weigh-in? Because he talked about it after, but what did you think when you saw him?
Yeah, what the hell?
So people were joking that it was like the It guy, like the clown from It, but he said it was like an anxiety thing where his he said he's been using a psychiatrist actually, and the psychiatrist was helping him out with his anxiety. And he said to like hold on to his balloon or something. It's kind of a weird metaphor, but because I was like, why does he have a balloon? I was like, what the hell is this? By the way, what did Matt Schnell give to Brandon Royval, by the way? Did he give him like a gift card or something? Like, what was that?
I don't know. I saw it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. That was kind of weird too, right? So, anyways, anything else you want to talk about UFC 274? There's a few other things we'll talk about Bellator quickly and PFL, but I think I'm done with UFC 274.
Yeah, me too.
We're going to move on. Okay. We'll get these last couple comments here, guys, from you. Jake Matthews looking for a fight. He's talking about for Fiallo. That'd be a good one. Volk and Charles thoughts. We talked about a little bit earlier in the show, man, if you want to rewind, but I think it'd be a very interesting fight. You know, I think Volk could win that fight. Volk's very well-rounded, but at the same time, you know, Oliveira is so dangerous. This was a bad decision. I don't think it was a good decision by the judges. The wrong guy won that fight, you know. Give Lupi a title shot. No way. Not yet. But in the future, sure. Tatiana, I have no idea, man. It's too bad because I remember when she smashed Carla, I was like, this girl is going to be the champ. That was like 5 years ago now or something like that, like 4 or 5 years ago. So she hasn't fought in a while. The last time she fought was against Ansarov in 2019, I want to say. Was it 2019?
Yeah, man. That long. Was it against Carla? Was it Norfolk or whatever you say?
It was in Chicago. That was in Chicago.
Oh, was it in Norfolk? What was in Norfolk?
That was Tito and Benavidez.
But who was Tatiana also fought in Norfolk? I think.
Did she? I don't. Let me double check. I could be wrong. I have a pretty good memory, but
Viviane Pereira.
Did she? Yeah, she did. 2017, Marcel. It was a long time ago. I didn't remember that one. But her last fight was in Chicago. Anyways, let's do Bellator really quick, Marcel. We'll go over that really fast. Did you get a chance to watch some of the card?
As long as you don't ask me about the main event, because that fight sucked.
Yeah, Bader wins. Garbage fight, but he got the job done. Not surprised, right?
Yeah, actually, they should have combined the events, dude. Carla versus Rose as a co-main and Bader versus Congo as the main.
I saw someone joking saying, like, congratulations on Chia Congo and Ryan Bader having only the second worst title fight of the weekend. Such a bad fight. It was bad. How about Romero's comeback? Now, they're calling it a TKO at 4:59.
Horrible.
If you bet on him by decision, that's a bad beat because
horrible
after the bell. Now I know people are saying you can't be saved by the bell. I get that, but I mean, it was like 5 seconds after the bell rang.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's a decision any day. Mike Beltran was the ref again, Marcel, for that one.
It's Mike Beltran who called it.
He waved it off, yeah.
But they should have. But if he waves it off, the commissioner next to the cage should have said it's a decision.
Yeah,
you know, it's not a TKO because the buzzer went, and then he intervened like 1 or 2 seconds after. It's a decision,
I
you
agree.
know.
I agree. There's a few other fights. Your guy Davey Gallen that you called was a showcase fight one.
Yeah.
Lawrence Larkin looked great. The only other fight I really want to talk about quickly was Soren back against Charlie Leary. I don't know if you saw this fight. Did you watch the fight? Did you get a chance to see it?
Yeah, I saw it for sure.
Dude, this is one of the worst decisions I've ever seen in my life. This was horrible, complete shit. And people were talking about corruption because at this point, like, how do you score that fight for Soren back? And especially 30-27. That's one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. I think it was Dave Torelli, who's not a very good judge. Dude, Charlie Leary definitely won the first 2 rounds, and he should have won the fight at plus 650. You know,
Dave Torelli had the baddest the worst scorecard. But how the fuck do they fly over cross-eyed idiot Sal D'Amato to France?
That guy's just running the world. He's getting to go to Paris and Vegas.
Unbelievable.
The guy's a bum. He's a horrible. We talk about it every week on this podcast. So sick and tired of this guy. He's a complete dumbass. He's ruining guys' careers. And I had this. Actually, we didn't even talk about this, but last week, obviously, I had we talked about the judging on here, and I said like they don't ever face sanctions. Why not? And I know Alex Bahuna, I don't know if he's in the chat right now, but he said something about it on Twitter. And for me, it's like, yeah, it's not as bad as refs because they can obviously like the guy can get permanent life-changing damage. I get that. But when you steal someone's half their paycheck, Marcel, you don't think Charlie Leary could have used his win bonus?
Oh, for sure. He had been in horrible decisions before, man.
I know. I've heard. Yeah, he's been getting screwed his whole career. So I'm just saying, like, you hurt people financially, dude. Then it screws them over. They might have to get a second job. Like, they might have to quit the sport. It's just sickening. So, and again, no one's going to do anything about this, Marcel. It was a prelim on a Bellator card. No one even cares at this point,
I know, but seriously, dude, I'm not nice, but I just want to see Sal D'Amato get kicked in the dick. Seriously. I mean, fuck that dude.
Here's the podcast. He's Sal, you suck at scoring fights, man. I'm just being honest. Like, you're not good at it.
And it's not just one fight; it's the whole damn time.
All the time. All right, let's go to PFL really quick as well. We'll do that really fast here, Marcel. PFL. Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah, I did.
Any thoughts?
Yeah, Kayla won, right, as she should, but there was a decision, wasn't a finish.
Dude, so let me talk about this. Minus 10,000 was the closing line, Marcel.
Yeah.
But her to win a decision was plus 500. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
No one thought that would happen. Everyone thought you could just smash this girl. I don't know if you listen to the show, but this guy Zombie Prof. His name's Prediction Guru. That's who he is. He's that MMA oddsbreaker. When this fight got announced, he was the only guy I saw saying, "I think Marina's going to be more competitive than people think." Now she still lost, but I thought it would be a pretty fast stoppage. So I want to give that guy a little bit of credit because he did think it would be a closer fight. I mean, this girl's pretty tough. He's never been finished, so it's not like it was the best prediction ever or anything like that. But it was a good read because again, everyone thought she smashed her, and she was minus 700 wins on distance. But I'm just bored of it, Marcel. It's just boring to me to watch her fight these girls that aren't even in her realm.
We're happy that we had Pattis on the card for and Rory McDonald.
Yeah, we'll talk about those guys. They both look great, getting easy wins. Carlos Leal is another guy I want to highlight here. He looked phenomenal. I know Ray Cooper missed weight. I get it. He was still a plus 400 underdog and destroyed him. That you got to give this guy a lot of credit, Marcel. And I think Marcel. He was in that LFA Brazilian tournament.
I remember.
The UFC could have signed him and they passed on him. Why? He's very good. Why did they pass on him?
I don't know.
He's good.
Yeah.
Checo looked really good. She's the only girl that besides, Kayla that, is like really good in that division, I'd say.
Jenna Fabian against Julia Budd.
She missed weight though, right?
Yeah, man.
No points.
Sucks.
No points, but that was a big upset. I didn't see that happening, Marcel. No. There was actually a lot of upsets in the card. Delano Taylor defeat Joe Ceferino. There was no odds because it was short notice, but he won. He would have been the underdog. Sada Busi was an underdog against Nikolai. Your boy Al Solali wins a split decision against T-Bell. What a joke, eh? Like, come on, what a joke. And there was a couple other splits. Like Abby Montez, the girl who beat Clarissa Shields, lost. That surprised me too.
Yeah.
There was a lot of surprise in this card. PFL, in the past, PFL has been like a really easy promotion, and people like parlay them and everything. But the matchmaking is getting better, the fighters are getting better. So I just wanted to mention that. Anyways, that was a good pick, John. Carlos Leal is really good, and again, Ray Cooper he didn't look like himself, obviously, but Ray Cooper is still extremely good, even with a couple of pounds weight miss. He could have definitely knocked anyone out. So I'm just very impressed with Leal. I'm pretty much talked out, Marcel. I can't talk anymore. Are you good to go?
Yeah, you don't have the ball?
I'm not tonight. I'm done my season. We came in first place. I made some really good money. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks. We came in first place. Made some really good money this year. and I'm happy about it. So it's
Nice.
good. But yeah, we're done. I'm starting a Wednesday league in 2 weeks for the summer, so it doesn't really affect this podcast, which is good. So yeah, there's a lot of splits, Sean. I'm just looking at the comments here. Anyways, I pretty much talked out. So tomorrow, I know. Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to preview UFC Vegas 54. Marcel, Blachowicz, Blachowicz, versus Rakic. Because Blachowicz is the higher ranked guy. Marcel, even though the odds don't say he's going to win the fight, so I'm looking forward to talking about it with you.
Freaking late card.
Pardon? What are you going to say?
Freaking late card, dude.
7:30 it starts here.
Why is that? Is there something on?
I think it's like just basketball, probably like the
Okay.
playoffs and stuff. Anything else you want to mention, or we're good to go?
We're good to go, I think, man.
Plug your stuff.
Big Marcel 24 on Twitter and Instagram, and my articles on Eurosport.nl, and then the mixed martial arts section.
Cool. Yeah, it was a lot of fun today, Marcel. Glad to have all you guys in the chat, man. A lot of lively chat today, which is awesome. Follow me on Twitter at @Martin. Podcast MMAOB.com. It's on our YouTube. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places. Keep listening, guys. Keep liking, sharing, subscribing. We more the merrier here. We're very welcome. Podcast here. Love having other people's opinions. It's always fine. Also, bookies.com. My best bets. I'll have them out this week, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Last week was okay, and then what else we got? MMAOB.com. So I got all the opening odds for the cards this week. There's a couple, and then MyMMAnews.com as well. And we'll be back next week, Marcel. We'll be back tomorrow. Excuse me, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. To break down UFC Vegas 54. So have a great weekend or a great night, guys. I keep thinking it's Tuesday for some reason. We talked so long, Marcel. Keep thinking it's Tuesday. Be back tomorrow. Have a great night, guys. Peace.